Hello there, and this is a quick tutorial video for Happy Nation Ace of Base on a guitar. Song that was used in Xmen 97. So yeah, here is how it goes. You first up want to have a 6-string guitar, is how I played it, and in standard tuning. It's where your low E, so you're starting with your 6th string, your low E, A, D, G, B, and then E again at the top end. To begin with, you effectively start with like a B power chord, but you only play the root, and you sort of bounce in and out of the root in second. So the way you do that would be you'd have your first finger on fret 2, string number 5, which is the note of B. And you basically hammer on, which is where you sort of bounce into it. Where you bounce into it on the 5th string. So you're basically hammering onto the 4th fret, string 5, and that gives you that. And that's basically the main sort of intro sort of setup. From there it goes into the first sort of lead line that accompanies the vocals. So that is all based off of a D flat natural minor scale or a C sharp natural minor scale, depending which you're more familiar with. It's the same placement, just has 2 names. The way you'd play that scale, you'd start with your first finger on fret 9, string 6, and then you have your natural minor position. But we don't need the whole scale, we only need the sort of main middle part. So you'd want to do what's called a technique called finger per fret. So basically your first finger does anything in fret 8, your middle finger owns fret 9, your third finger owns fret 10, and your little finger owns fret 11. You find it easier to move between the pattern and the shape. So you start with fret 9, string 3, that's your starting note. You then have fret 9, string 2, fret 11, string 3, and then fret 8, string 3. And then you'd have fret 11 again, string 3, and then fret 9, string 3. So that overall pattern is just using 4 notes. And it then repeats. Second time round is fret 11, string 4. This would be what's called your root notes, because that's your D flat, that's your sort of home notes. It then repeats that whole phrase again. So it does it twice. Fret 9 on string 3, fret 8, string 3, fret 11, string 4, 9 and 11 on string 4. So it's basically descending through the scale, going past the root note and then coming back onto it. So I'll play the original song and play those parts alongside it, and then we'll move on to the verse and the solo section. So from the start of the song, you effectively have just that bouncing bit as mentioned. And it just literally repeats this. add a bit of vibrato, hang on that note, and slide out of it. Then from there, you're into the main verse section. That bit just repeats the same sort of chord pattern. It's a 4-chord pattern, 2 sets of 3. So you start with a D flat minor to begin with. So the way you'd play that is you'd bar fret 4 with your first finger, and you up to the 5th string, and you basically make an A minor shape underneath. So you have your second finger fret 5 string 2, your little finger fret 6 string 3, and your third finger also fret 6 string 3. So that's your D flat minor. It then goes to an A major. It's easier to do this as a bar chord as well. That bars fret 5 all the way across all 6 strings with your first finger, and you basically make an E major shape underneath. So your bar effectively becomes your open chord pattern. So you have that bar, fret 5, string 6 all the way along, and then you'd have your second finger, fret 6, string 3, little finger, fret 7, string 4, third finger, fret 7, string 5. So that's your A major. It then goes to an A flat or a G sharp major. So all you do is you take that whole shape and you take it back 1 fret each. And that's all that is. So you'd be barring fret 4, second finger then is on fret 5, little finger and third finger both on fret 6. So that pattern then would be then the second time round, after the D flat minor, you'd have an F sharp major, which is again identical shapes that we've done before, but this time barring fret 2 all the way up on string 6. So you've got a bar on fret 2, second finger fret 3 string 3, little finger fret 4 string 4, third finger fret 4 string 5, and it then slides up to that A flat major we ended the last pattern with, and it just repeats that on cycle. On a constant loop, that pattern. So you can either strum it throughout, or you can add in a mixture of arpeggios, which is individual notes. I added in arpeggios part of the way through just for a bit of variation. Basically the way of doing that, rather than strumming the chord, you just pick individual notes. And you can then add variation into that. And all it is just hitting the strings from within that chord. Rather than playing them all together, you just play a few strings individually. You can come up with your own interesting patterns. One of the ones I commonly do is sort of walking down each string and then just coming back. Then this one, you sort of play the 6th string and the 4th string, then the 2nd and 3rd. So then that way it sort of ascends and descends back on itself. Can be quite a nice effect. So it then loops that sort of verse section quite a bit, just sort of repeats itself. Then when it gets into the sort of lead section, this is just after 2.5 minutes in, it's basically an improvisation in the key of D flat minor. So that's basically just playing melodies from within this key. But one of the things I incorporated into my one was the Xmen animated theme, because the song was in the Xmen show, Xmen fan, so I snuck in that sort of in between different phrases that I'd basically improvised and made up on the spot. So the Xmen theme, if you wanted to sneak that into it as well, you'd start with your third finger on fret 11, string 4, and your little finger sits on fret 11, string 3, and then your second finger sits on fret 10, string 2, and your first finger is currently floating, but we will use that in a second for fret 9, string 2. And you basically play 11, string 4, 11, string 3, 10, string 2, and then 9, string 2. You do the first finger first. So you'd have 11, 4, 11, 3, 9, 2, then 10, string 2. And then it goes back on itself. So you'd have 11, 4, 11 on 3, 9, 10, 9 on 2, 11 on 3, 11 on 4. Then it repeats again. But then this time you do 11 on 3 and then 12 on 4. Then it repeats again. Then you add 12 on 2. And then from that point I just went into a different sort of improvisation, just basically playing notes from within the D flat minor scale. That scale is from string 6, frets 9, 11, 12, string 5, 9, 11, 12, string 4, 9, 11, string 3, 8, 9, 11, string 2, 9, 10, 12, and then string 1, 9, and you can also add in 11 and 12. So altogether that scale is so you can add in all of those notes. And all of those will fit within this particular song, this particular piece. So you could incorporate your own patterns, your own melodies, or you could add in part of that Xmen theme like I did. The second part of that Xmen theme that's in there is from there. So that's where it sort of goes higher up into the pattern. So the way you do that would be 11 on 4 and 3, 12 on 2, 14 on 2, and 15 on 2, 14, and then 12 on 3. Then the second time where you've got the higher note, you go to 17 on 2. And it ends on 12 on the second string. So that'd be 11 on 4, 11 on 3, 12 on 2, 14 on 2, 15 on 2, 14 on 2, 12 on 2, 11 on 3. That whole pattern then repeats. The last note is then 12 on 3, then repeats again. Then the last note's on 17 on 2. Then it repeats and ends with the last note being 12 on 2. And then after that, again, there's more improvising within that same scale. And then the last sort of climbing pattern, sort of quick bit, which again is part of the theme. You'd have 11, 9, and 7 on the 4th string. You'd then have 12, 11, 9. You'd then have 14, 12, 11. And then it ends 17, 16, all on the 4th string. So it's all just climbing up that same string. and that's effectively the end of that sort of Xmen theme. Then after the solo section throughout the song, it then just back into the verse section. So from there, I end up just doing the chords. And you then got that sort of melody line again underneath. So that one we did at the beginning, using that sort of melody line that follows it, and that's effectively all the parts of the song. It's just then piecing them all together. Hopefully this was able to help you learn this pretty cool track. Have a good day.